I placed my value on a hoop like that in the morning, ready to go. Betrayed, backstabbed. I felt every single emotion that kind of go crazy. That night, I had an epiphany. It was constant roller coasters with girls, with basketball. What is going on, YouTube? Back again today. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ivan Compres. I'm 20 years old and I run an online fitness coaching business where I help men transform their lives and become their best versions physically, mentally, and spiritually. I really just want to come on here and talk about some things that I've been going through recently. And what's crazy is tonight I was actually going to drop my podcast. I filmed a podcast with my guy Gabe about a week ago, and I had been editing it all good, spent hours editing it in CapCut. It was ready to go, exported, right? And for whatever reason, that computer ended up getting a virus. And so a guy came to fix the virus, all of that. The files, the CapCut files with the podcast disappeared off the computer. And I searched for about almost an hour trying to find the file to recover it. It's just nowhere to be found. And truly, I was ready to drop it tonight, and to think, like, in the past, I would have gotten so mad over something. Like, so mad. I would have still been furious, but it's like, I literally laughed it off, and I was like, okay, I see the challenge, I see the test. And it's like, I understand that, it's really just an attack from the enemy. The podcast is too powerful. If it drops, it might change too many lives, but I understand that there's always a reason behind everything. And it's happening the way it's supposed to be. It's dropping when it needs to drop. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to re-edit everything. It's gonna take me another few hours, but you know what? It's fine. It's not hard. It's just new. It's as simple as that. But truly, I've noticed like a lot of points in my life where right now I'm kind of able to move through things calmly and smoothly. In the past, they would have deterred my entire day, week, even month. Like, I literally remember vividly back to the days when I would be up at night stressed and anxious about random stuff. I'd be stressed and anxious about the day ahead. I remember vividly being in high school and I was in a relationship, and I remember just being like anxious, being like, what if I'm not enough? What if, she gets up and leaves? Like, what if I'm not doing everything I should? What if I'm not being a good boyfriend? And I would just stress about little things like that weren't even important. And it's crazy to think like your life can truly change. I went through so much with girls. I went through so much with, high school and sports and all that stuff. Like, and the one common theme between them all was I constantly placed my self-worth on something that was outside of myself. I constantly placed my value on something that was away from me. I placed my value on something that literally played no difference. It didn't even matter. And the thing is, when you place your value on something that is external, it's unstable. I placed my value on a hoop like that. I would literally play basketball for like 3, 4, 5 hours a day, go hard, do dribbling drills, shooting drills, all that stuff. And when I wouldn't perform well in a game, when I wouldn't do everything I should have, when I would miss a workout, or when I would miss too many shots, I would immediately put my self-worth in the ground, and I'd feel worthless. I would feel like I wasn't worthy. I would feel like I wasn't a good player. I would feel like I wasn't even a good person. And that same like negative, low, confident energy shifted with everything in my life. Not just basketball, but it was with basketball. It was with girls. Then when I would go on dates with girls and, it would go good, I'd be like, man, like, what if I'm not enough? Like, what if, I'm not just being as good as I should to them? What if I'm not being, as nice to them as I should? What if I'm not attractive enough? Like, it was all these little things because I was constantly placing things outside of myself on a pedestal. When it came to basketball, I remember literally shooting hoops all day, and it was always my dream. I was like, I want to play college basketball. I want to play overseas basketball. And I put this on such a pedestal that every single game, every single practice, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but it was like almost as if I was kind of doing it to survive. It was like literally if I wasn't performing to the level that I wanted, I was letting myself down and I wasn't living up to my standard. And that mentality at the end of the day, it wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me because it was so unstable, so unstable. And after high school, right, you might think it was over, right? Yeah, Ivan finished high school. He kind of probably figured out his self-worth stuff and got it together. No, I didn't. Because after high school, I got into a sales job. I started making sales. I started working online, started making some good money, more money than I ever made in my life before. And I was feeling good. I was like, ooh, making sales. I'm working online. I'm living people's dreams. And after that time, I decided not to go to college. I wanted to go all in on what I was doing. And I was doing the sales. I was doing very well. And there were weeks when I didn't make as many sales as I should have. And my self-worth attached to how good of a salesman I was. The months when I performed well, I felt amazing. I'd celebrate. I would just kind of go crazy. But when I wouldn't perform and I wouldn't make the sales I remember just feeling like crap. I'd be like, yo, is this even for me? Is this really what I should be doing? Is this really what God is calling me to do? And truly, it was always up and down, up and down. It was like my life was going in roller coasters. It was like I would go like this, woo. And it was constant roller coasters with girls, with basketball, with sales, with career, with everything, with the gym even. With the gym too. I would go to the gym and I'd be all excited about this new workout routine. And then 2 weeks would go by and I'd want to stop doing it because, it's kind of boring now. I've done it and I haven't seen the results yet. Let me try something else. I would try something for like a week or two, fall off, and then try something new. And it was just a constant cycle. And it was because I was placing my self-worth on things external, on how I looked, on how much money I made, on how attractive I was to the girls I was talking to, on how I performed on the basketball court. But when you place your self-worth outside of yourself, which is what truly matters, you set yourself up for failure. Because guess what? When it all goes dark, when all the lights go out, when it's just you and the pillow in your room, who do you have to face? What's in here? Literally what's in here, you have to face that. You have to come to terms with all the thoughts that are going through your head. And those nights, I remember those nights when it would be hours tossing and turning in bed, flipping to the left, huffing and puffing, flipping to the right, and just thinking, yo, what if I'm not enough? What if this doesn't work out? What if she leaves? What if she cheats? All these thoughts just going through my head, and it would be like my sleep quality was ass because I was constantly worried about the what ifs, about my identity crumbling, because my entire identity was founded upon these things outside of myself. But the way that I overcame this was that I realized it was in here the whole time. It was in here the whole time. It was inside of me. And I'm not saying that in a simple way. It was in here the whole time. Yeah, that might sound simple, but it took me valuable and timely steps to get there. And the steps that I took, they all began with a decision. I knew all along, since I was born, that, it's me. It's me. It's all me. The world isn't to blame. It's me. And it just took stepping into that uncomfortability and taking action for everything to change. And the action that I did actually take to make the changes happen was that I finally started to place my self-worth on the fact that I was being alive. The fact that I'm breathing makes me worthy. The fact that God chose me to be alive makes me worthy. The fact that I am literally here talking to you guys on this camera, speaking my story and giving you value, I'm worthy. And that was such a limiting belief that took me so long to break, because I was so caught up in these thought cycles that were going on for years and years and years and years, and constantly placing that self-worth on something outside of myself, that truly it took me hitting my breaking point for me to actually realize it. And the breaking point I hit was, I remember, just being in a relationship with a girl and found out that I'd been cheated on. And that night, I remember hitting rock bottom. I remember going through the texts and finding out. And I just broke down. I broke down. I felt as far away from God as ever. I felt as low as ever. I felt betrayed, backstabbed. I felt every single emotion that you could possibly speak into existence. And that night I was like, yo, something has to change. There's no way this is all that life is. And I was like, how come when a girl or somebody does something to me, it actually affects me this much? Like, there's people out there who things like this will happen and it won't get to them that much. So why is it getting to me like this? I literally felt like my world was crumbling before my eyes. I felt like it was the end of the world. But that night, I had an epiphany. And I realized that the truth is, I was putting all these things on such high pedestals that when they came crashing down, I felt like that was my entire identity. But my identity was rooted in being alive and being a son of God and living in my God-given purpose. But over time, after I hit that rock bottom, I started to realize, yo, I need to live more in my purpose. I need to do what I need to do. I need to focus on me. And since that relationship ended, I've been in the best state of my life. I've been as happy as ever. I've been as locked in as ever. I've been as purpose-driven as ever. I wake up every single morning ready to go. And it's because I'm driven and I understand the fact that I am woken up, I am breathing, I'm speaking to this camera right now to you guys because I'm chosen, because I'm worthy. So if you're watching this and you're struggling with self-worth, if you may be thinking every single night that you aren't enough, that your performance is what makes you worthy, I'm going to tell you right now you are wrong and you need to break that limiting belief. You have to break it. Because if you don't break it right now, you are going to get yourself into deep trouble. You are going to get yourself into painful situations. You are going to put yourself in places that you don't want to be in. And it's your fault, because it was my fault. I made the choice. I made the choice to constantly place my self-worth outside of myself. But I am telling you right now, if you just take these steps that I am about to give you, you will absolutely transform your entire life. So if you're struggling with self-worth, I'm going to give you this first step. This is the first step that I took to actually get myself in the right direction and flowing to where I need to be. So step number one that I took was first and foremost, knowing who I am. You need to figure out exactly who you are. I had to figure out who is Ivan, because Ivan was literally being formed by his external reality, but I had to truly figure out who is Ivan. I had to sit down with myself and ask myself, what do I want my life to be? What are my dreams? What is my value? What is my purpose for this world? And when I sat down with myself and I asked myself these deep questions, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to change lives. You know, deep down, I always knew I wanted to change lives for a living. I wanted to impact people on a grand scale. I wanted to speak my words and change realities before my eyes. And I didn't know how when I wrote this down, but I knew it was going to happen some way. And here I am today talking to you. So truly, the first step is understanding who you are beneath the skin, who you are, what is your purpose in this world, because we all have a purpose. We all have a God-given purpose, and we get lost in it. We get lost in the world, we get lost in drinking, we get lost in vices, we get lost in hookups, we get lost in all this stuff of the world that we forget why we are actually here, which is what truly matters. And once you find this one out, you'll feel good. You'll feel clarity, but you'll also feel a fire under your ass. I remember when I found out exactly what my purpose was and what I'm being called to do, I felt such a fire under my ass. I was like, yo, I'm not doing enough. I need to focus more. I need to actually go all in on this. Now that I know what I need to do, like, I'm excited. I gotta go for it. Like, you're going to have a fire under your ass because you're going to know exactly what you need to do in this world. And in every single day that goes by that you don't do that, you're gonna feel some type of guilt, because you know that, man, this is what I'm called for. This is what I'm literally being called to do. So that's step number one, and it's the most important one, because if you don't have a sense of direction, you're essentially just going with a GPS that's glitched. So step number two of this process is going to be reverse engineering your dream life. So what do I mean by that? The next thing that I did as soon as I found out what my purpose was I envisioned exactly what the dream version of me looked like. I envisioned exactly what the dream version of Ivan was doing on a day-to-day basis. I envisioned what time he wakes up. I envisioned what he eats. I envisioned what his routine looks like. I envisioned everything. What car he drives. Everything. and I reverse engineered it into my reality now. Now, what does that mean? I literally broke down each and every single thing, the characteristics of that dream version of me, what he does on a daily basis, and applied that to my daily basis in current day. So on a daily basis, my dream version of me wakes up really early, takes a cold shower, journals, reads the Bible. I reverse engineered that into my current reality. And now every single morning, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, I read, I journal, read the word, all that good stuff, cold shower, everything, and I align with that dream version of me. So you know what that does energetically is it attaches me to that dream version of me. And as the realities energetically sync up, it becomes the truth. It becomes physical. Everything up here, the dreams, the thoughts that are planted in your heart that you've always questioned if they're too big, and you may even fear saying out loud, they're there for a reason, and they're there because you are being called to act on them. And if you don't act on them, they're just there. They're just there. They'll be given to someone else, and someone else will actually take action on it. You know, if you don't actually take action on the blessings that you have, how are they going to be handed to you? God will only meet you halfway. He can't just give you something without you being ready for it. Step number 2 is that. Do it. Now, step number 3, after you understand your purpose and you understand who you are and you apply the reverse engineering principle, step number 3 is being consistent even through the storm. As soon as you start to walk in your purpose, you're going to be faced with many adversities that try to pull you back into your old reality. So for me, as soon as I started to gain momentum, I started to do very good, wake up early, grow as a person, get into my best physique. My clients and the guys in the program are getting insane results. I'm getting slowly dragged into my old reality. The girl I used to be with starts calling me and texting me. I start being tempted to engage in vices I used to. I start being asked to hang out with old friends who are bad influences. And I'm constantly, you're going to be tested by all these different avenues that try to pull you back into who you used to be. But what's important is that when they come about, you see them. You pray for that discernment. Because if you can see them and catch them before they formulate into something bigger, you will grow even more. Because the truth is, that is the biggest test. As you start to grow and kind of live in your purpose and on the path you're supposed to, you're going to be thrown tests to see if you are truly committed to that path. You're going to be attempted to be pulled back into who you were. And when that happens, it's a sign to you that you're about to make a major breakthrough. So with all these 3 steps combined, if you apply each and every single one of these things and actually take action starting today, the day of this video is August 1st. If you take action today on August 1st, your life will change. Because guess what? There is 5 months left of this year. 5 months. You have 5 months left to change your life, to transform everything, to actually step into your dreams, to get that physique you want, to stop being overweight, to stop being skinny, and to actually step into who God is calling you to be. Because God has that dream in your heart for a reason. It's there. You know you're meant for more, but you keep grubbing on the weekends. You know you're meant for more, but you keep going for drinks with the boys. You know you're meant for more, but you want to binge scroll and play video games all weekend. When is it going to be enough? When is enough going to be enough? How many more years have to go by? How many more? Like truly, how many more years are you going to keep living in these cycles, cycle after cycle after cycle, knowing that you're meant for more? Say 2024 is going to be my year, 2025 is going to be my year, 2026 is going to be my year, and they're never your year. They never will be, because it's just as soon as you put things for tomorrow, next year, before you know it, you're going to be 80 years old and be like, yo, I did nothing with my life, because you wasted it all away. You were constantly living for today and not for tomorrow. You were constantly engaging in instant gratification activities and not things that were delayed. Anything that's actually good, anything that's actually a blessing is going to take time to come into reality. Because the only thing that bounds us to this earth is time. It's time in this body. But anything that's quick, those quick hits of dopamine that feel really, really, really nice in the moment, those are the killer ones. Those are the ones you need to stay away from. When you watch The Hub and you feel good for a few seconds and you're scrolling, looking for that perfect video and you find it, and then you get that nut off and you feel amazing, but then you feel like shit after. There's a trade-off. You get that instant hit, but then it fades and you feel regret. But when you delay it, and when you truly delay it, that feeling lasts almost a lifetime. Because I'm telling you, ever since I started living in my purpose 3 months ago, I'm happy every day. I'm grateful every day. The obstacles, little things like my podcast, my edited entire podcast that I spent 3-4 hours doing, disappearing off my computer. Now I gotta re-edit again. I just laugh. Okay, it's not hard, it's just new. I'll re-edit it again, it's fine. And truly, things are going to test you. Things are going to come in the path. That's life. But sometimes you just need to zoom out. Everything is below you. That dream that you want, it's not above you. Don't idolize it. Don't place it on a pedestal. It's below you. Because guess what? Nothing is more valuable than you. No physical thing, no car, no watch, no girl. Nothing is more valuable than you, because guess what? You're living this experience. This is your life. Your life. So nothing is more valuable than you. Nothing is above you. It is only below you. Literally anything that you may see as a problem, minimize it, because it's not as big as you think. In the hindsight, our life on this earth is like a blink of an eye compared to eternity. Compared to wherever we go after this. This life is very short. But it's important that we make the most of it. Make the most of it in a positive way. Because trust me, when you're 85, 90, 95, 100 years old and you're reaching your final days on earth, you're not going to think about all the drinks you had with the boys. You're not going to think about, oh, that girl you hooked up with last weekend that was really good. You're not going to think about that Hub video. You're not going to think about any of that. You're going to think about, how did I impact the world? How is the world going to remember me when I leave? That's what you're going to remember. And that should tell you right there that your purpose is more important than your pleasures. You come first, not the worldly things. You're celebrating without a means to celebrate. You're going to the clubs, you're drinking, you're smoking without a reason. And even then, you're just destroying your own body without living in your purpose, without doing what you're supposed to. So look, the moral of this video is, you're worthy. You're capable of all your dreams. Everything that you've ever wanted is already inside of you. It's not there coincidentally. You're not dreaming about these things coincidentally. You're not dreaming about being in shape coincidentally. You're not dreaming about being healthy, being fit, having a beautiful woman by your side coincidentally. That is there for a reason, and God planted in your heart, because I can promise you right now, 99% of people don't even think like this. They just go through life on autopilot and settle. But you're watching this video, so I can tell you do not want to settle. You want to actually get to a better place. You want to actually see gains. You want to actually be healthy. And you want to actually change your life. But it's one thing to want, and it's another to do. If you don't act, it doesn't mean anything. If you don't act, it doesn't mean anything. Literally, it doesn't mean anything if you don't. You guys can't probably see it on the camera, but I look up at the sky, and there's all these stars lighting up the sky. All those stars lighting up the sky. The sky is huge, full of opportunities. That's how I see the world. The amount of stars that you see in the sky is all the opportunities that you get on a daily basis to change your life. You wake up, you have these thoughts, you have these dreams. They're all opportunities to grow and to change your life. But every single day that you neglect it and you just look at it, the world continues to spin. And guess what? The star that's right there, it starts to move out of the picture. And you can't see it anymore eventually. At least from this point. So that's what happens with your thoughts and dreams. They're there, but the longer you pass by these opportunities daily, that person maybe texted you, maybe saw that IG reel of that guy who was fit, and you thought maybe you should hit the gym, but then you didn't. They're all opportunities. They're all around us. Every single day is disguised and masked with opportunities. We just often don't pick up on it. But if you prime your subconscious mind with the things that I have told you, your life will completely transform. You will start picking up on the opportunities. You will seize them, because guess what? Opportunities is where the changes are made. You will seize those opportunities. You will take action, and you will change your entire life. So look, guys, for those of you that watched all the way through, I am going to present you with an opportunity that may change your life. Down below, click the link if you're serious about transforming your life, bettering your physique, bettering your mindset, and getting in the best shape ever before the end of 2025. Click the link and apply for Built by Faith coaching. And if you're a fit, we will chop it up on a call and talk some more about that. But with that being said, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I truly put my all into it. And remember that you are worthy. Nobody can take your worth away, because God put you here for a reason. You just got to figure out that reason. But I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.